Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation from Gauri Mahalla Panjwa, Gauri Gwareri continues with the 86th Shabad in this compilation, and it is recited as follows. Gauri Mahalla Panjwa Gwareri रैण दिनस रहे एक रंगा प्रभ को जाने सद ही संगा ठाकुर नाम कियो उन वर्तने त्रिपते अघावन हर कै दर्शन हर संग राते मन तन हरे गुरपुरे की सरणी परे रहाओ चरण कमल आत्म आधार एक निहारे आज्ञाकार एको बनज एको ब्योहारी अवर न जाने बिन निरंकारी हरख सोग दुहूं ते मुक्ते सदा अलप्त जोग अर जुगते दिसे सब मह सब ते हरते सब में ते रहते पार ब्रह्म का ओए ध्यान तरते संतन की महिमा कवन वखानो अगाध बोध किछ मित नहीं जानो पार ब्रह्म मोहि कृपा कीजै तूर संतन की नानक दीजै. This Shabad describes to us the state of mind of those who one would call self-realized, which is the ultimate goal in Sikhi, is to realize the self, the true nature of one's existence. And the fact being that we are deluded into believing and identifying with what we call haume. So this is a description of those who have actually self-realized. And let's see how the Guru describes that to us. He begins with the first verse, Rain dinas rahe ik ranga, day and night, remaining constant in love for the one. Ik Ranga. Ik Ranga. Ranga has several connotations. It is also used to describe the impeccable one, a chief, a stage, a color, and love. But here, what is being referred to is a state of mind that is in equipoise. Ikranga does not fluctuate. A stable mind. That's the first marker. Rain dinas rahe ikranga. Absorption. Prabh ko jane sad hi sanga. Sanga with. This mind that is now stable realizes that the wisdom of the self, the gur, if you will, is really within. Prabh ko jane sad hi sanga. It recognizes and realizes that the primal wisdom is really within. Sanga is with me. Thakur naam kiyo un vartan. So then, with that realization, the lifestyle of such an individual changes. One starts to act out of guidance from this wisdom, from Gurmat. Gurmat becomes the guide, the compass. Perspective on life changes. And what does that do? Tripat aghavan har ke darsan. With self-realization comes a sense of deep contentment. We have spoken about Tripat and Trishna in the previous passages. as being two states of the mind. And here, Tripat is that state of deep contentment that the mind is really looking for. Contentment, being stable, not being subjected to the whims of life. So that essentially are the primary markers. A mind that is stable, a mind that realizes wisdom within, and then acts with that guidance and lives in a state of contentment, of flow, if you will. And this is the central message of the Rahau. Har sangarate mantan hare, Guru pure ki sarani pare. So here's the condition. The Rahau Pankti reiterates the foundation of Gurbat, that the way to self-realization is through the perfect enlightener. And the term Gur, as we have suggested, is also used to indicate method, technique, Gur. So Gur Pure can also be read to mean the infallible way, the way that will not fail you. That is the way. Submit to that way, and the mind will blossom, will expand. In Sahaj, that is the equipoise that is being spoken of in the first verse. Ik Ranga, ik Ras. Charan Kamal Atam Adhar. Again, a continuation of the state of such a mind that has submitted or absorbed or taken on this perfected technique that comes from the Gur. So you have a play on the word Gur. The Gur is the technique, the Gur is the mentor, the Gur is the enlightener. The medium is the message, so to speak. There's no difference. And so for those who submit to that perfect wisdom that they have discovered within, self-knowledge becomes the refuge. Charana Kamal Atam Adhar. Atam refers to the inner self. Adhar, support. Charan Kamal, lotus feet, literally translated, which we will find in a lot of our English translations, means to be sitting at the feet of the Gur. That is how this should be taken, because that's where this wisdom or this direction comes from. So it's a process. You begin on the outside and you learn the technique to get to the inside. So the Gur outside teaches you how to tap into the Gur inside. That really is how this process works. And so when that happens, the mind blossoms. What that means is that it is now in harmony. Ek nihar agyakar. It is in harmony. It is not resisting what is happening. It has given up all resistance. And there is only one focus and one way of life. Eko banaj, eko vyavhar, which is to presence the formless one that pervades all forms. You begin to presence the self, the creator, in everything. So Eko Banaj Eko Vyavhar. Banaj stands for, among other things, output, gain, profit, a business. And Vyavhar signifies conduct, but also points to a sacred space, a monastery. And the space is obviously within us, within the mind itself. So this verse here is stressing the fact that such minds have broken past the constrictions or the walls of the ego consciousness into a sacred space, which is a state of universal consciousness, from ego consciousness to eco consciousness. And in such a state of consciousness, one begins to presence or sense the unity behind the diverse world that we see. And the mind then falls into its own rhythm, natural rhythm, which is blissful. By its very nature, it's blissful. And more markers for us to consider. Harak sog do honte mukte, untouched by joy and sorrow. So the vagaries of life do not touch such a mind. They're freed from joy and sorrow. You have to remember, we are all looking for pleasure but want to avoid pain. That doesn't happen because these things come in pairs. Rag, dvesh. So an enlightened mind rises above both of them, is untouched, because they have presenced the self within and remain in union with it. Sada alap jog arjugte. Dise sab mein sabte rehte. Par brahm ke oe dhyan tarte. Stressing the fact that the mind is now attuned to its source, the creator. And in conclusion, the Guru says, how can I speak of the state of such perfected ones? Santan ki mehma kavan vakhanos, to speak of. Because their self-awareness, that state of consciousness, is fathomless, beyond my ability to describe. Agad bodh kich mat nahi jano. So the point being made is that it is not the subject of description by words. No words will suffice to describe that state. We have to travel past words, language, which is the foundation of the ego. So you have to break through that. So the Guru is really saying that state, words don't exist there. Language doesn't exist there. You are learning a completely different language, intuitive awareness. There are other faculties that come into play that we are not even aware of because we are just dealing with partial knowledge, just tapping into part of our mind, not the whole mind. And what we have to do through this process is to operate from a full mind, complete mind. And so the Guru prays for mercy and says, please grant me the tutelage of such perfected ones. May the Supreme Creator have mercy on me. At the end of the day, it is quite beyond our capacity to pierce through ego consciousness. But what we can do is to make the effort to get to the threshold and then hope that we will be carried beyond into that state. With those thoughts, until the next time, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.